comparison between TP, GP, Cerebras graph core from based on this presentation. This link. So yeah, please go through this. It's very, very interesting. It will give you a lot of insight. And I can't put my pen here. Here, TP version 3, it is 12 nanometer. Here it is again 12 nanometer, 7 nanometer. Now this is here we are showing WSE. So can you tell me which version of WSE this is? Is it version 1 or version 2?
So version 1.
How come?
So version 2 was 40 GB, I think.
You're right. Yeah. So this is version 1. And here for IP we have both the versions, IP version 1 and 2. Now here DRAM capacity, here it was null. There is no DRAM, but here there is some DRAM. That's why there is 112 gigabyte of DRAM. Now let us go. So there is a lot of data. I will just go slide by slide. So first of all, let us compare the theoretical peak performance. So Cerebras has much higher theoretical peak performance, and this is theoretical peak, and this is the GAN achievable. That means once you run the GAN, how much teraflops you achieve. So here they could not run, so that's why these results are not available. Now here out of the 123 they achieved 120, which is very good. That means 98% they can achieve. Even V100 can achieve a lot. Even on A100 you can achieve a lot. Whereas here, as I showed you, it achieves only 47%. I just today I showed this point to you. And here, so now you can see that in IP version 2, within the same power budget, right, 150 and 150, they have doubled the performance. Okay, how? So how can, because from 16 nanometer they have moved to 7 nanometer. So 7 nanometer chip means it must be much more costly. I think price is not shown. Price is not shown here. Yeah, because 7 nanometer will cost you much more. So now you can see they have doubled the number. I mean, more than double the number of transistors from 23 to 59. So and frequency is unknown. SRAM capacity has increased from 304 megabytes to more than 900 megabytes. SRAM bandwidth is almost same. But the limitation of graph core is that it has the lower compute efficiency than GPU and TPU. Only 61% here, whereas here you have more than 90%. Now, this is the T flops per power, okay, energy efficiency. That means for each amount of watt that you spend, how much performance you can get. So this is the GAN achievable, this is the theoretical. Okay, so theoretically speaking, this is really, really efficient graph core, right? Graph core is the most energy efficient. Okay, this 1.6. For each watt that you spend, how much teraflops per second you get is 1.6 here. For Han-Huang, we had the numbers IPS per watt. And yesterday I discussed a lot about the difference between IPS versus T-flops. So I don't remember any other paper where if I remember in any other accelerator where I have this number, I would like to compare it sometime later. But for now, you can see that here it is only 0.6, 0.26, 0.27. Whereas here it is 1.6 and 1. That means this is highly efficient design. Okay, that means if your energy is a very important constraint, then you can use graph core. Now this is the memory efficiency. That means for each byte of memory that you have, either DRAM or SRAM, how much flop you get. So here for each DRAM byte you get 133. Here you get 122. Here you get 158. So that's very good. Here this is unknown. Here it is 32, 35, 128, 120. So here GPU is most memory efficient thanks to multi-level cache hierarchy. Okay, so as you know, like in systolic array, we don't have any hardware managed cache, right? In TPU, we don't have any hardware managed cache. In GPU, we have both shared memory and we have hardware managed cache, and we have multi-levels like L1, L2, and then we have the DRAM. So you can bring the data, use it wisely, and that's how you can get good performance. Okay. So that means memory bandwidth is very well utilized. Now area efficiency. For each millimeter square, how much T-flops do you get? And for each billion number of transistors, how many T-flops you get. So here it is 11. TPU has the highest performance density in terms of T-flops per billion transistor. That means it is quite cheap to build TPU. Whereas IPU version 1 was very poor here. And even IPU version 2 is inferior compared to the GPU. Okay, so this comparison till now was for each individual chip. Now using chips, you make the servers. So here this is the TPU version 3 server, which has 16 TPU chips. Here V100 DGX2H, it has 16 GPUs, whereas DGX1 it has 8 GPUs. And here Cerebras, it has just one wafer scale engine, right? CS1. So that is version 1. Wafer scale engine version 1. Okay. Now here GraphCore IPU1 server, which is 16 IPUs, IPU2 server, which is 16 IPUs. So here is the comparison. So here it has 16 TPU chips. Here it has 16 V100 chips. Here it is only 8 V100 chips. Here it is 1 chip, 16 chip, 16 chip. So here this is the result on MLPerf. I have not discussed till now about MLPerf. I mean, it's just a benchmark suit. That means they provide some certain benchmarks and everybody has to show the results on those benchmarks. Now, Cerebras and GraphCore have not submitted their results. Probably they don't consider it important, but others who have submitted these results. So this is again images per second, right? This is IPS. This is again IPS metric. So this is on ResNet 50. I guess ResNet 50. So here it is 29,000. Here it is 24,000, 21,000. So version 3 I outperformed GPU version 100 by 23% on ResNet. So now we can see because each server has different number of chips, this is not equal. It's not very easy to have fair comparison because now you see like here it is like 176 billion transistors. Here it is 952 billion transistors. So much more number of transistors. Now this is the rack unit factor. This is 6U, 10U, 6U, 15U, 4U, 5U. And what is the power? Total power. Max system. So this is now you see this point. Here it is 9,000 TDP. Here it is 12,000, 6,500, 4,800, and 6,000. So that's why this is not very fair. This system comparison is not so very fair, but still we are doing it. And one good thing here is that they have also mentioned the price USD dollars, so that's good to have. Now DGX Ampere server, which has only 800 chips, I mean, DGX 800, which has only 8 chips. This is quite comparable with this 60 chips one, right? You see this point? Here V100 chips, although we have 16 of them, but with 800, just with 8, we can achieve 87% of what we can achieve with 16 exavolta chips. That's really a good improvement between volta to ampere. Okay, so now model memory size. So here, see, if we have a larger numbers, so the model size into subtest size is should be less than the memory size. So we saw this point here. Like here, you remember, right? If we have like higher batch size or sub batch size, if we go to 256, then our memory consumption increases. If we are at 128, our memory consumption is less. So that's why we must have, I mean, we should have as high as possible memory size, and our model size should be less. So if you see here, what is the model size that it can run? So here, this GPU can run very large model sizes. Okay, GPUs can run larger models by exploiting model parallelism. Whereas IPU can also run larger models. And So see here it has 18 gigabytes, so that's why it can run 18 gigabyte models. Here it has 4.8 gigabyte, it can run 4.8 gigabyte models. Here it can run 1800 gigabyte models. Okay, here it can run 16 gigabyte. Okay, so here it can run 512, right? Here the maximum is 512. That's what it can run. Here it can run 640 gigabyte per second. So this is the largest size of model that it can run. Now this is the size of different models. So here this GPT-3 it's very well known. It can, I think somewhere I read that they used 1024 GPUs and ran them for 4 months. Then they were able to train GPT-3. Now G-Shard has even more number of models. I mean, this is the number of million number of parameters. So now you see that these larger models, right? They can be run only on GPU, TPU, and IPU2 potentially, because IPU2 has DRAM. But because Cerebras has no DRAM, IPU1 has no DRAM, that's why they can only run smaller models. Is it fine? I hope you understand this point of the model size. Is any questions here? Are you able to understand, right? That the larger models can be run only if you use DRAM, right? It's a very, very simple point. And if you have smaller models, only they can run on a system which has no DRAM. Okay, now let us see area efficiency. So this is the performance per rack unit. That means if given a certain rack unit like CPU, how much performance you can get. Now here, within each rack unit, TPU fits 29 billion transistors. Whereas here we are able to fit 190 billion transistors. And for each U of, that means each U height, how much petaflops you can get is here only 0.26, here it is 0.8. Here you can get 0.5 and so on, all these numbers you can see. And TPU has the highest ResNet throughput per U. That means how many images you can process with ResNet. Okay, the throughput is in terms of how many images per second. Here it is 4,986. Here that is unknown. So I think here if they were to put like Hanwha, that will be very good comparison because Hanwha has very high IPS value. And GraphCore has the highest theoretical P-flops per U. This one, P-flops per U, 0.8. This is the highest. Because here you can see that within only 5U, it is able to fit 952 billion transistors. That means the integration density is very, very high. And one more reason why this is lower is that it is 12 nanometer. So see, as we go low size, right? If we go to 3 nanometer or 5 nanometer, we can pack a lot of transistors. But if you work at 60 nanometer, you can't fit a lot of transistors. Okay. So is that point clear? Now let's see the energy efficiency. So performance per watt and power density. A100 server has the lowest power density. This is 1023. That is the lowest. Lowest means best. That means each U is spending only 1083 watts of power. See, we want less power to be dissipated. That's why this power density should be as low as possible. Here, theoretical performance per watt. So that means with each watt of power, how much T-flop we can achieve, that should be as high as possible. So that is highest for 1.67 for TPU. And if you see the ResNet, so here we don't have the ResNet results, but here this number is best for this number is best for the DGX A100. That means for each watt of power spent, it gives you the highest throughput. Finally, the cost efficiency. So here, now, okay, we finally got some number. For each hour, you want to use one chip, then how much price you have to spend. So here it is $2 US. Here it is 2.48. Here it is 3.1 US. Here it is 0.8. Here it is 1.8. And if you want to purchase it, right, and keep it in your own premise, then it takes you like 399K. Here it is 199K. So that's really interesting because here it is half the number of GPUs, right? Here it is double the number of GPUs. Here it is only 8 GPUs. Here it is 16 GPUs. So obviously it will cost less. Now here it is $2 million. Wow, that's too much. Here it is 105K. Here it is 130K. Now, coming here, if you want to use them in cloud, so for each dollar that you spend, you get 59 teraflops. Here you get 51, 103, 160, 142. These are really efficient, right? You can get a lot of teraflops per second. So now you see, right? If you are a businessman, you will think only, especially in terms of this also, right? That means for each amount of each unit of money I'm spending, how much performance am I getting? And here you can see, here for ResNet they have not provided the numbers, but here this 911 that is highest compared to between TPU and GPU. So TPU is quite good; it's not bad, although it's just simple systolic array. And here they've also mentioned the scale-up interconnect and scale-out interconnect. So what is that? Scale-up and scale-out. These are the two different terms. So these two are different terms actually. So scale-up is within the same server if you increase the number of chips, and scale-out is if you have multiple servers. How do you connect them together? Okay, so for example, here we have eight chips, so they connect with each other using NVSwitch, and here you get much higher bandwidth. And once you have multiple servers like this, you will connect them over InfiniBand. Here it is Ethernet. Here it is Ethernet. Here it is gateway links. Their own proprietary internet. And here it is terabytes per second, here is only bits per second. So you can see the drastic reduction in the speed or in the bandwidth you get. The speed comes down drastically. Now here there is also some rack to rack. Okay, I don't have that. Yeah, they have it on the website. I did not take it. I should have done this.